Assalamu alaikum. Hopefully, you're doing fine. In today's session, I'm going to talk about grammar translation method and approach. Grammar translation method, which was called as classical method since it was first used in the teaching of the classical languages, Latin as well as Greek. So, this is the oldest teaching method for the languages that we utilized. So, there are various functions related to this grammar translation method. Let's look at these one by one and see that how we approach various ideologies related to language learning. In this method, classes are taught in the student's mother tongue with little active use of the target language. So, mother tongue is utilized. For instance, if Urdu is your mother tongue, that will be used as the source of teaching of English language. Vocabulary is taught in the form of isolated wordless elaborated explanation of grammar are always provided. Grammar instructions provide the rules for putting words together. Instruction focuses on the form and inflection of the words that would be the forms of the verb, the past participle, and present participle forms of the verb that we utilize while converting the base form into its various other related forms. Little attention is paid to the content of the text. Drills are exercises in translating disconnected sentences from the target language into the mother tongue and vice versa. So, rhetoricization or drills or practices where memory practices are utilized for learning the language through the use of disconnected sentences and that are translated from language to language. Little or no attention is given to pronunciation. That is why we see people learning from this particular teaching methodology are unable to speak at all because their pronunciation is problematic and they are shy and they feel that they are stranded. There are certain advantages of this method as well. It is an easy method. It helps in building vocabulary. It saves teachers' labors. It is used for comprehension and it is used for teaching of the grammar. There are certain disadvantages of using this method for language learning. It is an unnatural method. It neglects speech. It neglects pattern practice. It ignores habit formation. It is used for translation, and exact translation is not possible at all. Idiomatic expressions are difficult to translate. It teaches English by rules. It makes the students a passive listener. It is uninteresting. It focuses on written language. It is having the lack of cultural context. It uses memorization as a technique for learning new vocabulary item or new rules. It is used for word to word translation. It is a method that lacks communication skills. It focuses on accuracy over fluency. It is rigid for different language learning styles. It neglects silent reading. The test that comprehension we as teacher conduct at the end don't assess all skills. So there are various techniques, that is translation of a literary passage, reading comprehension questions, Antonyms, synonyms are utilized for learning more vocabulary item. Cognates have been in practice where you could correlate vocabulary item with the other vocabulary item. Deductive rules are used. Deductive method of inquiry is utilized for learning. Rules fill in the blanks is mostly practiced in this method. Memorization is used. Use words in sentences is also used as a technique, and composition passages are given in this particular method. So this is a method that most of the non-native speakers, especially in the Pakistani context, utilize, where they focus on translation, where they focus on memorization, where they focus on accuracy, where they focus on rules and regulations. So because of this utility, people are unable to learn language because it is an unnatural method. It provides the vocabulary in isolated sections, and teacher is the center of attention. Rather, students are mere passive listener, and their focus is more on the writing skills. So here speech is neglected altogether. That is why I discourage my students using this method, and most of my video sessions are in direct English instead of using translation as a method, where it is easy for the teacher to teach language. But what I believe, that language learning should be through English, or should be through target language, instead of teaching it through mother tongue, which provides chunks or isolated vocabulary items, and attention to the context is altogether avoided. Content is not at all paid attention. So pronunciation stays neglected in this particular method. So this is a method which is the oldest method for teaching of English, and is mostly practiced in traditional settings here in our country, which should be discouraged